Okay, hopefully that doesn't happen again. Yeah, sorry about that. I think my Zoom crashed. Okay, so yeah, well, as I was saying, yeah, of course, this is not about anything. There is no topic to discuss or ask about or figure out or whatever. There is no such thing as non-duality. There just is no such thing as anything, of course. So the suggestion, the apparent suggestion, is just that this is it. So what appears to be happening, a body breathing, sitting on a chair, on Zoom, listening to Izzy on a Saturday, is just all there is. So what appears to be happening is all there is. There is, of course, nothing else. And what is naturally whole and complete. Just naturally. It can't become more whole and complete. It can't be any less whole and complete. It's just naturally perfect, if you like, just as it is. And so, yeah, of course, this isn't being pointed to or illuminated, or it's not obvious. None of these things, of course. This just seems to be a suggestion, one could say, that Izzy just says, or appears to say, this is it. And then there appears to be some bodies that may ask questions or whatever. And of course, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with anything. So asking a question is just asking a question. An apparent answer is just an answer, or whatever. So, yeah, of course, that's the beginning and the end, one could say. But there seems to be certain bodies that seem to say this happens to me, or there seems to be this apparent experience that this happens to me, and that I'm at the center of all of this. And of course, the suggestion is that there just is no one already. So there is no possibility of anyone dying or falling away or collapsing or whatever. There's already no one. There's already just what appears to be happening. And then, yeah, this illusion to be someone, so to speak, can just seem to just suddenly explode, if you like. But yeah, of course, this never even happens either. With this explosion or whatever, it's just revealed, one could say, that there just never was anyone. And this explosion just didn't happen. There is just boundless energy. So anyone is, yeah, of course, welcome to just say hello, ask a question, whatever. There's no right or wrong. You can unmute yourself or write in the chat, whatever you're comfortable with. Okay, in the chat, is life hard with or without a me? Well, there just is no life. There just is no life that is hard or easy. Of course, so-called life seems to be very difficult for me. Because apparent me seems to always be trying to fix life or make it better for me or have a good outcome or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, life can seem very stressful for me, of course. But yeah, this is just an illusion that never actually happens. So yeah, as I say, there's just what appears to be happening. And it's just naturally innocent, naturally perfect. It's not easy or difficult or whatever. What I can do to see that? Well, of course. Sorry, 1 second. Well, of course, no one can do anything to see that. There is nothing to see. And there is, of course, also no one who can see or not see or whatever. There's just already just what appears to be happening. A body sitting on Zoom, listening to Izzy. That can't be seen. There is no one to see that. And what do you mean by there is no life in the chat? Well, well, of course, this doesn't mean anything in that sense because nothing means anything. There is no meaning. So that there is no life can't be explained. It doesn't mean anything. It's just that there is no life. One could say that life is just this word that seems to be used for what appears to be happening. But there is no actual thing that appears to be happening called life or love or whatever. Okay, in the chat, did the seeking energy stop before the explosion into boundlessness happened or whatever it was? Oh, well, no, of course not. Not really, no. Because as all this time there seems to, I mean, there is no person who is seeking or whatever. This sense of seeking is the sense of being someone. So as long as there seemed to be me, there seems to be this seeking. Me is the seeking, so to speak. Apparent me is the seeking. So no, this seeking energy never, I mean, this listening to this message or whatever, this so-called awakening seemed to take the edge off some of the seeking or whatever. I don't, yeah, slow it down, whatever. I mean, but no, not really. None of this could even be said. They're still seeking, of course, until this just completely collapsed. Like as a story, I could say, yeah, it slowed down and listening to this message, made it relax and whatever. But yeah, at the end of the day, there still seem to be seeking, as long as there seem to be me. Which of course is fine. There is nothing wrong with seeking or anything. It's just what appears to be happening. Just a body saying it's seeking or whatever. There's no one in that. Do you mean this is an empty appearance? Well, what appears to be happening, one could say, is empty fullness. Yeah. But just nothing can be said about what appears to be happening. So one can't say that it is, yes, it is empty, or it is full, or even it is empty fullness. I mean, these are just words. There's just what appears to be happening. Hi, Neek. Hi, Izzy. Some words on specialness. Yeah, well, of course, me thinks it's special, or me seems to be this sense of I'm special, or I'm different, or I must get this, I will be the one to get this, or whatever. Yeah, as I say, there's nothing wrong with this, but there just is nothing is special, nothing is more special than anything else. Of course, the apparent person seems to live in this sort of hierarchical world where things are better or worse, more special, less special, higher, lower, whatever. But yeah, of course, everything is just naturally whole and complete. There's nothing better or worse than anything else. Okay. In the moment when I feel stressful about things in life, they seem very real to me, though. Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Things seem very real to me. Because, of course, me itself feels itself to be real to begin with. So I feel real, and then everything else feels real. So then this stress is real, and this is really important, and I must sort it out, and it must get better, and then I can relax or whatever. But yeah, there's just, I mean, what appears to be happening is also not unreal. It's just neither real nor unreal. So the body just may get stressed, and that's just what appears to be happening. The body may then later feel relaxed, and that's just what appears to be happening. Okay, in the chat, I feel like I've hit a wall with questions in a way, but still I can produce more. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course, this it may just, I mean, coming to these meetings or whatever, it may just be more clear, let's say, that there just are no questions. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I remember this too. It just was obvious there was no questions. And in some sense, I didn't have any questions. Well, in many ways, I didn't have any questions. But at the same time, there was still this sense of there being questions, like you say. So questions could obviously then just seem to be made up out of that. So that's when it seemed quite frustrating, because logically one could say I had no questions, but this energetic sense of having questions or needing to know or to figure it out was very much still there. So yeah, like you say, questions just seem to keep coming. But yeah, that's just fine. Questions are just questions. There's nothing wrong with questions. There's nothing wrong with anything. So yeah, the suggestion is just that there are no real questions, as much as there are no real answers, in the same way as there are no real answers. And this need to know, this sense of being me that needs to know, that needs to figure it out, needs to get to that point where I can land and realize, that just seems to just totally die. No one ever lands or realizes. Okay, as a result of your state, I think you have the ability to live alone. Well, I mean, actually, yeah, one could say the funny thing is, I always wanted to live alone when I was seeking or whatever, because this seems to be like yeah, just let me focus on my seeking or whatever, the apparent person seems to, yeah, can push things out. It gets intent on this one goal or whatever it is. But yeah, of course, I mean, there just is no one. So there can't be a comment either way of, oh, yes, I can live on my own happily, or, oh, no, I love to be with people. I mean, whatever, there's just what appears to be happening. So, yeah, the body just seems to quite enjoy socializing, but then also just watching Netflix or whatever. Living off grid with Izzy. Yeah, living in my cave all alone. I think that was the goal once upon a time. Okay, in the chat. So, hi Izzy, what do you think of celebrities that have money and fame and attempt suicide? Well, I mean, of course, I guess the what the question seems to be asking is that money and fame. I mean, obviously, with these things, a lot of so-called people would seem to seek in these things. This seems like quite a common one, let's say. Maybe not fame so much, but money especially, yeah. Wealth, whatever, materials. And I guess, yeah, what this question is asking then is that this just obviously doesn't lead anywhere in that sense. So, yeah, this so-called person would seem to seek all these things and then obviously then still feel this is not quite it or whatever. There must be more. It must be around the next corner. More money, more sex, more drugs, whatever it is. So, I mean, there's no opinion, obviously, about this. This is just what appears to be happening. There's nothing wrong with this. But of course, the suggestion is that this already is whole and complete. And as a story, one could say what the so-called person seems to be looking for in the money, the fame, whatever, is just already this. And of course, the so-called spiritual person would seem to then renounce all these things, like we said about the cave or living off grid or whatever, have no money, no sex, no fame, no drink, whatever, live alone. And then I'll be happy because I won't have any desires or whatever. But yeah, of course, these things just whatever, they're just what appear to be happening. And it's not so much that they can't fulfill or can fulfill, it's just that there is no one who could be fulfilled or unfulfilled already. So, of course, with this apparent death, a lot of interest in these sorts of things just seem to totally collapse. Chasing money, work, whatever. You just end up with a very lazy body. But yeah, that money and fame is just what appears to be happening. There's nothing right or wrong with it. Okay, hi Moira. Oh, can unmute yourself.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, hiya. What you said about you wanted, kind of thought you wanted to be left alone to focus on the seeking or your goal. But that seems to be what the me does, is have a particular thing that it's focusing on and that's what I've got to be doing it now. That's what I've got to be getting on with, and that's what I've got to achieve or I'm doing. And it becomes, is that not the contraction then? Is that where the things stop being everything and become contracted in a way?
Well, no, I mean, of course not, because this is just everything as well. This is just what appears to be happening. There is no contraction.
So even if you're really an obsessive character who gets really intense and obsessive when they seem to do something, whereas some people seem to be more laid back, that don't make any difference then.
Oh, totally not. No.
Right. Because I think you need to get that out of the way, and then I don't know what then, but it seems to think that, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, of course, me would think that this obsession is bad and that I must be more laid back and that once I get this, I'll be more relaxed or laid back or whatever. But of course, the suggestion is just that obsession is just what appears to be happening.
But isn't that the seeking too? That then, when you say you died, that stops being like that.
Yeah, I mean, when I died, a lot of these sort of neurotic behaviors and obsessive behaviors just seem to just slowly fade or whatever. But there's just already no one that they're happening to or that's doing them. They're just obsessive loops or whatever, or thoughts about whatever. There's just already no one in that. So yeah, of course, when this apparent illusion that there is someone seems to collapse, a lot of these obsessions seem to just settle, one
So
could
someone's
say.
taken out of the equation in a way.
Well, in a sense, of course, but there is just already no one in the equation that could be out of it.
Or an illusory something is taken out of the equation, or something, I don't know, I don't even know. Yeah. That what makes them seem less important, or less for them to melt or whatever, to become less.
I mean, well, of course, and what's being suggested is a total lose-lose. So, of course, the apparent me would want the obsessive thoughts to go and the stress. And of course, with this apparent collapse, they may relax, but there then is no one to benefit from that or experience that. There is no benefit.
Yeah, because the me sees everything from its perspective of reaping the whatever it is that is going towards or looking
Yeah,
for.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, the apparent person would want to die and then have the benefit of being more relaxed, having died.
Mm.
But of course, there just is no benefit to anything. And there is no one, of course, or there is already no one, but certainly there's no one that survives this so-called death. I mean, the greatest wish or whatever from me would be that I could survive the death and then have all this relaxation and this liberation and whatever. I mean, this is the hope of me, it seems.
Yeah, that's kind of completely unrealistic, isn't it? Or something, or not even possible or feasible.
Totally impossible. Yeah, totally impossible. Yeah.
Still seems to think this way, like completely without ever having really thought it through or something. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, I don't know. The contraction in the body seems to be an issue. You say that didn't exactly, you weren't aware of a contraction in the body not disappear, leaving, because Jim Newman talks about being aware of the contraction leaving.
Well, I mean, there was some, let's say, experiences or whatever of what felt like, I mean, the only, let's say, energy or whatever, sensation in the body. I mean, totally indescribable, of course. There just seemed to be sensation of release, one could say, around the head and the chest, and just the body seemed to just this sense of energy releasing, one could say, which obviously is a story one then says is a contraction dissolving or whatever. But this of course, this seemed to happen after this awakening, this apparent awakening or insights or whatever. But of course, and at the time, that all seemed very important. And like
when you died, that happened, or
no, exactly. I mean, this all seemed still.
So when you died, wasn't the contraction leaving the body?
Sorry.
When you died, wasn't when the contraction kind of left?
Well, I mean, this apparent death was just the total collapse of everything.
Right.
So all of these sorts of things that seem to happen to me up until then, energy leaving, feelings in the head or the chest or whatever, this whole game just totally collapsed. So there then was just no such thing as contraction or expansion or whatever. There just is of course no reference for either of these things. There's just what appears to be happening.
Yeah, I've got something going on where something in me is just finding something to latch onto and knuckle down on, kind of thing. And I don't know, it's like an obsessive compulsive element, I think. But I mean, I don't know.
Well, exactly. And
I won't stop doing it.
there's just nothing wrong with this, and it's just what appears to be happening. So there's no problem with this, and this apparent sort of obsession and trying to solve things and work it out and having things to latch onto is just what appears to be happening.
It feels like a problem. Feels
Yeah,
like
of course.
kind of but something in the works that shouldn't be there and shouldn't is making something. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say now. I've got a strange relationship with it. On the one hand, it's doing it and it won't stop, and on the other hand, I think it should be gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, of course, this seeming to be someone seems to be this sense that something has to change, or something is missing, or something has to be added or taken away. So these obsessions need to stop or need to be worked out or become something else or whatever.
It also has an image, though, a projection ahead of what it has an idea. It knows what it's going for. That's not an unknown. It knows what it's going for and has an image of it, and is expecting the answer to be what it is projecting.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right. I don't know what that means. It means it's already looking for something that it already know then, or it's not open to something that it don't know.
No, I mean, thoughts are just thoughts. They're just what appears to be happening, just an apparent function of the body.
So I'm trying to project an image of when you died and what that is and what that means, what that is. But that's the me, I suppose, wanting to to be there and to be there when it isn't there. I mean, I suppose. But anyway, I could go on here for hours, along forever, probably. So anyhow, I don't know what more to say now, really. I mean, I'll take up all the time, so better shut up, I suppose. Or something, knock me on the head. I'll get on with me knitting.
Thanks, Moira.
All right, okay. Let's get me unmuted. I got unmute, have I?
Okay, a couple in the chat. But it's hard to see that this is already this. Oh, it's impossible. This is never seen. No one ever sees that this is all there is or whatever. This is just all there is. It's impossible to see because there is no one who could or couldn't see it. Okay, is a very lazy body the normal thing instead of a body which cannot stand doing nothing? Therefore, it's always looking for the next thing to do, even moments before sleep, especially nowadays with phones that make looking more easily. Sometimes I find myself looking on my phone without knowing what I'm looking for. Weird. Well, no, I mean, there is no such thing as normal, obviously. Or in terms of sort of what is normal or whatever. I mean, there's just what appears to be happening. So a body just lazing around, or a body just rushing around, doing lots of chores on its phone, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just what appears to be happening. There's already no one in control of that or whatever, or not in control. There's just no one doing it or not doing it. Yeah, it's just what appears to be happening. A body rushing around or going on social media, whatever.